Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Wave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. Today, we have what every midlife woman needs to know with Dr. Kari Hamrick. Welcome in, Dr. Kari. How are you?
Hello, thank you, Robin. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's so good to have you on the show. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Kari. She is a registered dietitian with a doctorate in nutrition and over 33 years of experience helping people reach their weight and health goals. She has a full-time telehealth private practice and is successfully working with hundreds of individuals from around the country utilizing the GLP-1 therapies. This makes her uniquely positioned to impact a wide audience with geographical diverse eating lifestyle, and medical backgrounds. Her practice is focused on women's health issues, and she understands the challenges of GLP-1 users and their encounters. She is passionate about teaching people how to optimize nutrition and lifestyle strategies for real world results with compassion, clarity, and a touch of fun. Wow, that is amazing. I'm so excited to just dig in and hear your story.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited to share.
Yes, absolutely. So let's jump in a little bit and talk about what is GLP-1?
Yeah, so GLP-1 is a kind of hormone we call incretin hormone, and it is secreted in the gut after a meal. So we naturally produce this hormone in our gut when we eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Well,
And
essentially, the GLP means glucagon-like peptide. So it is actually a hormone that is kind of the I am satisfied hormone. So when it's produced, it gives you a sense of satiety after a meal. So
oh,
that's every time you eat, it's released in the intestines, and it essentially tells your pancreas to release insulin. And that slows the stomach down. So you have a little bit slower gastric emptying, and that gives you that feeling of fullness.
wow. Okay. I have heard a lot about GLP-1, and it seems to be something that comes up in a topic for a lot of women. Why has it become so popular of lately?
Yes, with the invention of Ozempic and the semaglutide type medications, it's really blowing up right now because there are the injectable versions of GLP-1 that a huge number of people are taking to help them to lose weight that has been not easy to get rid of. So
Mm,
it's really helping people because it gives them that feeling of fullness so that they can think more rationally about their portion sizes. And then it's kind of whispers that, hey, you don't need that helping.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Is this a magic pill?
Well, for a great many people, it really has made a significant impact on their lives. It takes away that food noise enough that they can learn to implement skills to just generally eat healthier. But the problem is that a lot of patients will just take it as if it's a weight loss medication and not make any changes. They just will stop eating. And when and if they eventually go off the medication, they're more likely to gain it all back if they haven't learned how to eat correctly while the food noise is dampened.
So, how does this work with women in midlife or in menopause,
Yeah.
perimenopause, mid-menopause, full-on menopause, post-menopause?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how our hormonal changes and GLP-1 work.
Right. Yeah. My folks that are in perimenopause and postmenopause, they'll come to me and say, hey, I'm doing everything right. And they are. They really haven't changed their diet or exercise in any way. And now all of a sudden they are gaining weight in the midsection. But there's three big things that happen as our estrogen becomes depleted over time. With falling estrogen, they have actually discovered that a bacteria in our gut called Akkermansia muciniphila, and I just call it Akkermansia because it's a mouthful, but it is what promotes our own GLP-1 secretion. And they have found that with declining levels of estrogen, we also have declining levels of that specific bacteria in our gut. And therefore, we're just naturally not producing as much of that GLP-1. And we have a reduced sensitivity to it as well. And then, in addition to that, once we get to about age 50, we lose about 1% muscle mass per year, just as a natural part of aging. But with a loss of estrogen, we also have an additional loss of muscle mass, which can lower the total number of calories that you need per day. So if they haven't changed their intake at all, then they, even though, they're doing everything right, they're still potentially taking in too many calories. And then there, depending on what the diet is like, there is generally an increase in low-grade inflammation in the body. And that will impact the gut directly. So, in addition to the foods you eat, stress and inflammation can directly impact what bacteria in your gut live and which ones die. So, we have to be thinking of ourselves holistically, and it's not just what you're putting into your body, but also how you're naturally handling stress.
Wow, that is so important to consider. It sounds like there are a lot of layers of things that we have to look at when we're addressing GLP versus hormones, where our hormone levels are, where our stress level is. What are we doing to manage stress? And where does exercise and nutrition come into all of this play? It's a very big picture. And
It is a big picture. And Robin, even if you're eating kale and walking 10,000 steps a day, your natural GLP production can drop 30 to 50% than it was a decade ago. So it's really biology. This menopause thing is rude. It's very rude for our body. So thinking of yourself as a holistic being and that we have to learn how to manage stress. And you can also manage stress through your diet as well.
yes.
But stress management techniques, and that includes meditation and exercise, those and breathing exercises, those are proven ways to reduce stress. Eating, it does not cure stress, and in many cases can actually exacerbate it depending on what you're choosing. Like if you're stress eating and it's for something highly palatable, high sugar, high fat, that can actually increase your stress.
Oh, yes, it definitely can.
Mhm.
And because in the menopause cycles, our body is not only physically changing, but emotionally changing as well.
Mhm.
And yes, and so we go from highs to lows.
And
How do we get
making sure
anger?
that we're putting in the right foods can help with that so much. It has a lot to do with blood sugars and insulin sensitivity. And because GLP-1 is a hormone that helps your response to that, then you're looking at getting a double whammy where you're naturally moderating your moods a little bit better and producing more of your own natural GLP-1.
Hmm. So our bodies can produce GLP-1 again?
Yes. Yeah. You can start to stimulate your own production again. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that we could build back that. But I guess it's part of looking at your gut and your gut health and
Yes,
looking at what we're eating and how that is interacting on healing our gut. Yeah.
definitely. We just don't think about our gut as having that much control over us. But we have a very symbiotic relationship with the gut bacteria that we collectively call the gut microbiome. And in the gut, they're always, at any time, just like in our biome, which is the Earth and the solar system, The gut bacteria's biome is a very small portion of our intestines called it's they like to hang out mostly in the cecum, which is really close to the appendix, and that is right where the small intestine dumps into the large intestine. That's where they live. And just like in our world, there are good guys and there are bad guys that live there. And again, just like in our world, we hope that the good guys outweigh the bad guys and keep the bad guys in check. But with stress and with poor eating, the bad guys can take over because if the bacteria aren't getting fed what they like to eat, then they literally will starve to death. And the bad bacteria are fairly weak and mostly opportunistic. So they're only going to take over when the good guys are not as strong or they're dying off. And
So,
when the
how,
bad bacteria take over, Robin, you're going to start craving high sugar, high fat foods because that's what they like to eat.
oh, see, that's interesting because my next question was going to be, how do you know when the bad guys are taking over the good guys? I mean, what kind of symptoms are you exhibiting in your gut? You said something about cravings,
Well,
maybe.
it can also lead to all kinds of gastrointestinal issues. You can have irritable bowel syndrome, you can have a lot of bloating, constipation, diarrhea. There can be tons of things that are just happening gastrointestinally. I don't know why I'm just craving sugar all the time. It's not necessarily a lack of willpower on your part. It could just be that the gut bacteria are telling you that you're hungry and increased appetite for those kinds of food.
Oh, that's interesting. So the gut bacteria, the bad guy gut bacteria, is sending signals saying, give me sugar, and all kinds of other foods that are not bad because that's supplying them, the
What
bad
they
guy
like.
bacteria. And so our good guy
Yeah.
bacteria is going, no, stop. I have to
Yep.
equate it to this level.
Right, right. Yeah, you just have to try to get your metabolism to wake up. And we do that by feeding the good guys what they like to eat. And then that typically can stop that vicious cycle of sugar craving, eat the sugar, and then, that you get a boost in your blood glucose, which gives you a little dopamine hit and a little quick burst of energy. But unfortunately, the blood sugar is going to plummet very rapidly. And when that happens, what do you crave more of?
Yeah,
Sugar,
sugar. Yeah, exactly.
sugar. So you get in this vicious sugar cycle. And the best way to break that is to really load up on lots of fiber.
Fiber.
Yes, because that's what the healthy gut bacteria like to eat. That is their food. That's what we call prebiotics.
Okay. I will tell you that when I hear the word fiber, I kind of go, But tell me more about fiber. How can I make it more interesting to eat and help my body?
Yeah, sure. There are two types of fiber. There's insoluble fiber and soluble fiber. And we need both of them. And the gut bacteria need both of them as well. So the insoluble fiber is the outer part of all plants. So it would be the skin of fruits and vegetables, it's the bran of oats and wheat, it's the cellulose. Did your mother ever call it eat your roughage? Did she ever use that term? My mom used to say, eat your roughage. It's the part of the plant that doesn't dissolve. It's something that you would chew and chew like a cow chewing its cud, and it's never going to dissolve. And even the gut bacteria don't use that. But it's super important because it acts like a broom and it sweeps out the colon and keeps it nice and clean so that the gut bacteria have a nice, clean home to live in. So that's its role. And then soluble fiber is the inside of plants. And it's also very high in oats and barley and beans and legumes. And that kind of fiber is the prebiotics. That is what the gut bacteria love to eat, and they thrive on it. And so, really, fiber is nature's appetite suppressant.
That is interesting. Fiber is something that we should be taking in. How do we know if we're getting enough fiber every day?
Yeah, so the goal for women is 25 grams or more per day. And that's total, both soluble and insoluble. And then, for men, it's 35 to 38 grams. But the easiest way to get that in is to really aim for eating more fruits and veggies, which I know that with pretty much everyone who I talk to, they're not getting enough.
So I
So,
never thought of fiber as fruit and vegetables. I
oh,
always thought,
really?
yeah, I always thought fiber like oats and looms and things like that. I never really thought about fiber as being a vegetable or a fruit. Can you give us an example?
Yeah, any kind of fruits and vegetables are going to have both soluble and insoluble fiber, but the ones with lots and lots of colors also have antioxidant compounds that we typically will call polyphenols or vitamins and minerals that also are necessary for the gut bacteria in order for them to do their job. So they need two things. They need soluble fiber and they need those antioxidants in order for them to do their job. And so berries and apples, I mean, really, an apple a day keeps the doctor away is true. But fruit with skin will have both soluble and insoluble because the skin part is the insoluble. And then all of your vegetables, leafy greens, and broccoli and cauliflower, you name it. They all have good amounts of both fiber, soluble and insoluble fiber.
Wow. That gives me a whole new way of looking at my fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, yeah. And we're trying to get a lot of variety. And I'll be honest with you, I don't get 5 servings of fruits and veggies in every single day, but that's always my goal. And it can vary. Like one day it might be 2 fruits and 3 veggies. The next day it might be 1 fruit and 4 veggies. And we should be trying to aim for a variety because all the fruits and veggies have different antioxidants in them that do different things in the body. Like if you're just eating salad every day and you're like, okay, I'm cool, maybe not. We need to be thinking of eating a rainbow of different colors because each one of those colors provides a different antioxidant that works in different parts of the body.
I like that.
And
Uh,
they work synergistically, which is super awesome.
I like that. Eating a rainbow every day.
Eat a rainbow.
Makes us happy. When we open up a refrigerator, we should look at it as a rainbow. And
Yes.
what is it that we are putting into our rainbow, and how are we eating that rainbow every day? So I like that. That's really
And
good.
reds are really easy to get because, tomatoes are in just about everything. And if you're eating salad, you're getting some greens in. But some of the ones that aren't as common for people is like the blues and purples and the oranges. Anything that is orange because of a pigment called beta carotene. And beta carotene is the water soluble version of vitamin A, and it's converted to vitamin A in the body. Super duper powerful antioxidant that is wonderful for your skin. So for our menopausal ladies, working on getting those orange colored fruits and veggies in, not just carrots. We got Thanksgiving. That's great for pumpkin pie, and that is an orange vegetable that is rich in beta carotene.
That is wonderful. I really like the idea of eating a lot more beta carotene because so many times we have dry skin because
Mhm.
our skin is not getting enough of the nutrients that it needs. And also to the hydration part of it as well. And I
Yes.
always throw that in there is drink your water, drink your
Hmm.
tea. Teas are water, but be careful about that because they can have caffeine and different things like that. But drinking as much fluids every day as you can is so important for
Yeah.
helping with dry skin. But okay,
Hmm.
that's my plug for staying
Yes.
hydrated. So tell me a little bit about some of the myths that we hear about GLP-1. Are there? Changing the subject on you, aren't I?
Yeah, no, that's okay. One of the things that I hear a lot of is that the semaglutide, the exogenous GLP-1 like Ozempic and Wegovy, that it's a weight loss drug. And that's a bit of a misnomer, actually. It's a hormone optimization drug. It is essentially promoting giving you that GLP-1 hormone that's regulating your appetite. But if you don't ever learn how to eat properly and learn how to stimulate the production of your own GLP-1, then you might lose the weight, but you could also lose a lot of muscle in the process. So it's if you're not working with a nutrition professional, then you're missing out on this opportunity to really be able to optimize your diet so that you're getting the most benefit from that exogenous shot.
Hmm.
So I do see, and I have friends even that will go on these shots and then they just stop eating. And yes, you do lose weight, but you're going to lose muscle mass when you do that. And the problem with that is that muscle is your metabolic machine. Muscle burns 3 times as many calories as fat, pound for pound. So if you're losing muscle mass, you are essentially lowering your metabolism, making it even harder for you to lose weight in the future or to maintain your weight when you go off the GLP-1.
How long should you be on GLP-1?
Well, that is something that is still being researched because, as you know, this is still a very new medication. And I don't think that there is an answer to that yet. However, some of the new information that's coming out is suggesting that because obesity has been categorized as a chronic disease, similar, same as heart disease, high blood pressure, cancer, those sorts of things, they're now thinking that it could be a lifelong drug that you stay on for the rest of your life rather than something you go on and off of. So like for example, if you have high blood pressure and you're taking a antihypertensive medication, what would you expect to happen if you went off the medication?
Your body is going to go through a big change, and it's,
And your blood pressure will go up.
yes, exactly.
Well, so they're thinking that if you go on the GLP-1 and you go off of it, that you could potentially gain back, maybe not all of it, but you could gain back 15 to 20% of what you lost.
Hmm.
And so for some individuals, it could be that they eventually stay on it their whole lives,
Wow.
which is expensive right now, but things are changing in that world and it may be let's watch and see what happens. But I think that the writing's on the wall that in the next, 5 years or so, it will be very, very affordable and maybe even be like over the counter in microdoses.
Wow, that is very interesting. That's a lot of really good information to take in and think about. So, we're going to wrap this up for the moment.
Okay.
And Dr. Kari is going to share with us wonderful types of foods that we can have, a grocery list, how to form a healthy habit so that you're not on GLP forever, and what does that mean, and how she works with her clients. So I want you all to stay tuned to our next podcast, which we will drop right away. And also check out the show notes on how to get a hold of Dr. Kari to work with her. So thank you, and we will see you again shortly. And this has been the Minowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Minowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. And today we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Kari Hamrick. And we have this amazing conversation around GLP-1 and what it is and how you recreate it naturally. And today we're going to continue. We're going to talk about how to create a healthy lifestyle habit so that your natural LP1 can start coming back. So, welcome in, Dr. Kari. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Robin. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. So, once again, just a little bit about Dr. Kari for those that didn't catch the last show. Dr. Kari is a registered dietitian with a doctorate in nutrition and over 33 years experience helping women reach their weight and health goals. She has a full-time telehealth private practice and successfully works with hundreds of individuals from around the country utilizing LP1 therapies. So Last time we talked about what LP1 is, and if you're a person that is on that, what does it look like to build a healthy habit?
GLP-1, GLP stands for glucagon-like peptide. So it is a protein and it is a hormone that we naturally produce. It's called an incretin hormone, and we produce it in our gut after every single meal. GLP-1 therapies are very popular right now, and you might know those as Ozempic, Wegovy. That it is a semaglutide that is injectable. So you take a shot, and it's essentially putting GLP-1 hormone into your system. And this particular hormone helps to make you have less of an appetite. So it kind of whispers that you don't need a second helping. And there are some actual side effects that go along with taking that medication. So I'm all about helping people to learn how to produce their own GLP-1, because the reason why those shots work is because we have GLP-1 receptors and we have them all over our body. And why do we have GLP-1 receptors? Because we make our own. So I like to teach people how to promote the production of your own.
How do we create a lifestyle where our natural GLP is working properly so that we are losing the weight, we are feeling better, we're coming back into a balance? How do we do that?
First of all, just to share that we really can make a significant impact on your weight, your inches, even bloating. Not to the same extent that the shots would. So you're not going to see a big dramatic drop. It's pretty regular for folks to lose between 6 to 15 pounds of weight, which is a typical weight gain during menopause. And that could amount to about 2 to 4 inches off your waist and a lot less bloating. Even if they're not taking the shots, and we really work on optimizing their GLP-1 production, they'll notice that they have a flatter stomach just from the lessened bloating. So it kind of helps with that menobelly in that respect. And it also helps with your mood and brain fog and hot flashes, because there are GLP-1 receptors in your brain. And so you have a better dopamine regulation in your brain, which helps stabilize your moods. And it also helps to balance your blood sugars, which is directly linked to mood swings. So you'll have a lot less brain fog with that. And I wanted to share that there is a emerging research. There's a study, 2024-25 studies show higher natural GLP-1 is linked to fewer and less intense hot flashes. And this is likely because it calms the inflammation and improves the autonomic nervous system balance. So when women fix their GLP-1s naturally, they almost always will say, "Oh, I feel so much more like myself again."
Hmm.
Even before it moves the scale, they'll start to see some small changes. So the ways that we do that are really about food and about managing stress. So if I were to, do you want me to give you like foods that I would recommend that are going to help boost the GLP-1
Well, of
production?
course. So I would just kind of want to unpack a few things that you just said. Number one, hot flashes, minnow belly, brain fog. Those are all things that we're going through right now in our menopause roller coaster. And so I think that this is a really interesting topic that we can actually calm them down or even completely make them go away, which would be amazing. I don't know if they completely go away, but I think that this is a key that we need to pay attention to because it's part of the whole picture of what menopause is. And menopause is not just one thing. It's our hormones, it's our emotions, it's our body, it's our spiritual, it's everything. If I was one of your clients, how would I start to learn all of this?
It's the Mediterranean diet is, originally it was based around heart disease, because heart disease is the number one cause of mortality in the United States among both men and women to this day. But they've discovered that it has an impact in so many areas other than heart disease. And part of that is around producing your own GLP-1. And so olives and olive oils are key. And that is one of the big foods that the people in the Mediterranean region consume. And the research is showing that a 2 to 3 times increase in post meal GLP-1 when you are using olive oil. And similarly, cold water fatty fish like salmon and tuna, sardines and mackerel, those are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. And those also have a really big impact on GLP-1 production. And then, of course, nuts, those are another fat. They also have some protein in them, but especially pistachios and almonds have the best impact. It really helps because it is a very slow digesting fat and it also has fiber. So they are considered superfoods in that respect. And then another healthy fat that works alongside, very similar to the nuts and seeds and the olives, are avocados. Avocados are a monounsaturated fat and they also have the fiber. So they're very similar to the olive oil in their ability to boost the production. And then we need to be really focusing on those soluble fiber sources because that is the prebiotics. It is what I call gut chow, puppy chow. I like to think about the bacteria in our gut as kind of like my pets or my little gut buddies. And if you keep those bacteria, those little gut buddies, healthy and happy, they keep you healthy and happy. So anything that is high in soluble fiber is feeding the healthy gut bacteria what they love. And when that is happening, they are producing your own natural GLP-1. So foods that are very high in soluble fiber are all of your fruits and vegetables, as well as beans and legumes and oats and barley. Those are big ones.
Well, you have just said so many amazing things. I love pistachios, avocado toast,
Yes.
olives. I like the tuna and the sardines. Oh, those are so good as like a little snack once a
Hmm.
day. Olives. So, yeah, I can see where, oh, and then, so many of the vegetables, the rainbow vegetables, we talked about that
Yes.
in our last episode. So, eating the rainbow and then adding into your diet these healthy fats. I feel like this is so much more obtainable than just figuring out what fiber is and how to get more of it into your diet. I feel like, yeah, I could definitely put some of these things into my everyday eating habit, and I think I would feel so much better. So,
Yeah, and it's really easy to throw a bunch of things into a smoothie and you get like all of those in one meal. The other thing that I didn't mention is probiotics. And probiotics are the actual live bacteria, the live microorganisms that we find in fermented foods like Greek yogurt, skyr yogurt, which is the Icelandic version of Greek yogurt, also kefir. If you've never heard of kefir, kefir is like a drinkable yogurt made with kefir grain. Kefir grain comes from Ukraine and Russia. And then other fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, and tempeh, kombucha, those all have probiotic organisms in them. And when we ingest those, it's kind of like, I like to call them VIPs, very important probiotics. And it's like when they get to the gut where the bacteria live, it's like they stimulate all of the other bacteria in the gut to kind of do their job. It's like a celebrity comes and they're like, woo! So we need to be really focused on trying to consume some kind of probiotic food every day or at least multiple times during the week.
love
Addition.
kombucha.
Do
And
you?
Yes, I do. And
I
I
used
have
to make
friends.
my own years ago.
Yes, it's a thing. People making their own kombucha. You'll have to look into it. That's just kind of a side note. But yes, kombucha is just one of those amazing superfoods, and I just love them. So many of the things that you just said are really easy to bring in. And also, too, I think it's notable to say that you don't have to have large portions of
No.
any of these foods. I mean, you can have a couple ounces of yogurt in the morning or in your smoothie. Smoothies
Yeah,
are definitely one of the best ways of getting a lot of your rainbow foods in there,
definitely.
especially like with the kefir
Hmm.
and one of my favorite ones is spinach and blueberries. I love that combination.
Yes, that's exactly what I do. So I start with kefir and I put in some protein powder to really boost that protein, and then put the berries and the spinach and then some chia seeds, because chia seeds and flax seeds, they are a soluble fiber, but they're a superfood because they also have protein and they are a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. So they are considered superfoods, and you're getting all of the good stuff in one small smoothie.
I love that. There's nothing better than starting your day off with a good, healthy, tasty smoothie, too. So I feel like whenever I'm starting a new lifestyle habit, that I'll start off really big and then I kind of get like, kind of taper off, instead of trying to consistently add little things, making small steps and small changes. Is there like a little secret to that? And what are
Uh,
your thoughts on that?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because for any lifestyle change to be successful, it has to be two things. Number one, it has to be something you are willing and able to do for the rest of your life, not just until you lose X amount of pounds, right? And secondly, it has to be good for your body. It has to be providing your body with all of the necessary nutrients that it needs to function optimally. And a lot of fad diets out there are missing one or both of those key components to success. So when you're working with me, I do not turn your whole world upside down, because after 33 years of doing this, I know that doesn't work. People can follow that for 1 or 2 weeks and then they can't do it. So small but significant little baby tweaks over time, where you're learning to master new skills, is really what I have found to be the most successful for most people. And so if you're taking Ozempic or one of those semaglutides, then that takes away that food noise so that I can teach people to have a better relationship with food, and to not think of it as good and bad and that there are forbidden foods, but to learn how to manage the food intake so that when and if they go off the medication, then they understand what they're supposed to be eating and how to manage some of those hungers
Mm.
cues.
And so you give your clients that support that they need in order
Yes.
to build the habit
Yes,
that will last
absolutely.
them a lifetime.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes. I think that is another key right there is to have the support and the education so that when you have those days when you completely fall off the eating bandwagon, so to speak, that you can have, okay, I had a bad day. I can see Dr. Kari, and she's going to give me the support and encouragement, and I can start a new day and get back on my healthy eating plan for my life and feel good about it. So you don't have to like beat yourself up. Oh, I had that brownie, so therefore the rest of the day
Yeah.
is ruined.
Yeah. That's that all or nothing thinking, and it doesn't serve anybody. But support, you're right. Support is the number one biggest predictor of success. And so having that constant support and learning to recognize that one bad meal or one bad day is in no way going to make or break your long-term health goals unless you allow it to. So that happens. We go on vacation. We have Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. Those are normal, healthy things that is a part of our society and our culture that I would want people to go and enjoy themselves. So
So
learning how to manage that and balance that is where I come in.
that's awesome. We have the holidays coming up. So, are there any like little tips that you can give us enjoy the holidays better without feeling the guilt?
Yes. Well, I guess what I would say is that if you know that you are going to go to somebody's house for a big meal, instead of being like, okay, I'm just not going to eat all day until I go to that because I know I'm going to overeat there. I would say that the better approach would be to eat a healthy breakfast, like that smoothie, where you're getting in all of your colors and the things that your body needs. Eat a nice, healthy lunch, and maybe even have a small snack right before you go, so that when you get to that meal and there's this beautiful spread, that you can actually think a little more rationally about making good choices, or maybe not just having as much of it because you aren't starving. Hunger and fullness is very much a pendulum. And when you pull that ball back all the way over here and you're super duper duper hungry and you let go, would you expect it to stop right here in the middle? It's got momentum. So the hungrier you are, the more likely it is that you will overeat and feel uncomfortable. So try to continue to space your meals out through the day and go enjoy yourself. But if you aren't super duper hungry, you'll be able to control your portions a little better.
Mm, that is some great advice. I really feel if I eat before I go so that my blood sugar isn't like shooting off the charts and then I want to gobble everything in sight, that I have a better outlook. I can go in and I can go, oh, that looks really good. I kind of like to give myself a little bit of grace when I go to like holiday meals and things like that.
For
It's
sure.
it is. And I feel like I want to try a little bit of everything. And I'm going to give myself permission today only to indulge and not worry about. I'm not going to overeat, but I'm going to watch my portion size. And I'm also going to listen to my body. So when my body says it's
Mhm.
full, I'm going to give it a little break and drink some water and visit, because holidays are about visiting your family and friends and loved ones and everything like that, not to focus on the food so much. But also, too, if you deprive yourself and you go, oh, I'm not going to eat that, then that's all you're going to be thinking about. So
Exactly.
give yourself permission to have a holiday cookie or whatever everybody is eating and enjoy. And just realize, you know what? Tomorrow is a whole new day. You can rebalance and refocus and don't beat yourself up about it.
Exactly, Robin. And have to remind my patients a lot that it is not possible. It's just not even possible for the body to gain 3 pounds of fat overnight. It's just, we don't do that. Try to stay off the scale during the holidays. Our weights can fluctuate between 1 and 5 pounds a day, depending on our hydration status and how much fecal matter we have in our bodies. So stay off the scale, enjoy your day, and know that once we get into January, your intake will even out. And having that all or nothing thinking is really psychologically not good for you.
Exactly. So thank you so much for sharing
Yeah,
that. So how can women and men too, but
yeah.
women, how can they work with you? How can they find you and find out more about you?
Oh, yes, I would love that. I would encourage people to come to my website, which is nourishwithdrkari.com. I think we might link it in the notes of this podcast. Is
Mhm.
that right?
Yes, we will have all the links in the show notes down below.
Exactly.
Do you have anything special that you're offering today?
I am. So, anybody who's listening to this, I am putting together a grocery list of how to boost your GLP-1s naturally. So, it'll have kind of a little overview of all of the tips and tricks, as well as maybe a recipe or two that'll be a place to get you started. And so, if
Oh,
you go to my website, it'll be available on there, or there will be a link as well.
that is awesome. I'm going to get that link and I'm going to get that grocery list and I'm going to add all those things to my pantry, because if you clean out your pantry so that you just have the good stuff in there, that's what you're going to reach for when you need something to eat and nourish yourself. So that's awesome.
For sure. Yeah. If you don't have it on hand, you can't eat it.
Exactly. So it's really important to stock up on the good fats, the good healthy nuts, and all the different foods, and start experimenting with smoothies and different types of foods and the Mediterranean diet. That's a great idea. I love so much
Hmm.
of the Mediterranean diets and, slowly incorporate them. So that's awesome.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
Dr. Kari, is there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to leave our listeners today?
Yes, your body is not broken. It really isn't. It just needs a little lift. And so please reach out to me, and I would be happy to work with you and to help you to get back on track and to reach your health goals.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kari, for being on our show. And everybody, check out the show notes down below. Check out the links. If you like this, subscribe, send it to your friends. Let everybody know that, we're here and this is a wonderful podcast. And thank you for joining us. And we'll see you next time on the Minowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations.